Hi, I'm Jon Hodoway with Nighthawk Custom Training Academy. Today I just want to talk about shooting. I want to talk about targets. I want to talk about some things that I think are important. I want to talk about some things that I think get us into trouble. And by trouble I mean, get us bad habits that we have to learn to overcome. So let me start off and say this. This is a standard IDPA cardboard target. It's oddly the same dimensions as a USPSA target. I think that it functions pretty well because it replicates, as you can see here, kind of the human torso. And I want to, for years and years and years, I think police officers were done a big injustice. The injustice was this: they were given a huge B-27 with a black outline on it against a white background with white lines that you could see. And they were also given, here, right here, was the dead center of the X if you looked at the target anatomically. The problem with that is you got the same point value if you shot someone in the elbow, basically, as you did shooting them in the heart. And that just isn't the way that reality works. So if we're going to train, we're going to shoot targets, we're going to judge shot placement, I think what we've got to do is try to as much replicate where good shot placement is. Now, again, when I look on the IDPA targets, here you're going to see that there is an A zone score and there's 0 down, and then there's a head here as well to score. Now, a couple of things that we have here today is this. I have really never encountered that many people that look like brown cardboard or black paper in the world that I thought, gee, I might have to engage these people in a gunfight. But I've seen lots of people with shirts on that, well, that frankly got shot in videos and stuff. So, and I'm thinking, gee, maybe one of the things that you want to do is invest in putting some shirts over your targets so you're shooting what you may actually encounter. Well, in this case, I've watched lots of episodes of Cops, and I see lots of people in wife beaters that need to be shot, and I see them do it all the time on Cops. So, maybe you want to invest in some t-shirts. Here's the other thing that I would say. You got to make sure that in your mix of targets that you're shooting, I don't know, maybe there's people, in this case we're using hands here to show you that these people are ones that don't need to be shot. So maybe you want to put them up like here so you can have her screaming, "Don't take my man to jail. He's a good man. He's just been drinking. I want to drop the charges. I just wanted y'all to scare him. Who's going to take care of my babies?" That's what she's screaming right here. And maybe you want to engage him. He needs to be shot and she just happens to be in the way. So, I'm going to encourage you here again to go with something with some hands on it or that doesn't need to be shot. So as you're making these choices, now I know there's a lot of targets out there, and I'm going to get emails, I know, that say, well, we can get the thug target that's holding the lady hostage, that's doing this and doing that. Okay, I think that's important. I think that those targets are good. But I also think that what you've got to do is condition yourself that the job of distinguishing between the good person and the bad person is something that takes away those perishable shooting skills. So the closer you can make those to distinguishing from one another, because very rarely are things black and white in this world. And so what I find is you want to make the shoot targets look as much like the non-shoot targets as you can so you can distinguish those. Now, let's come over here and look at some other things that we can do to targets. These targets, as you can see right here, we've put a shirt on these guys, but behind the shirt is a steel plate. So here's what happens. If you're shooting the entire target, what's going to happen is you're going to hit this steel plate, your bullet's not going to affect it, it's going to bounce off. Well, why would I want to do this? Well, it forces us to index off the head up here. You see, when people are in gunfights, they take cover behind all sorts of strange things. But the head is one place that you always know where everything else is relative to the head. You might not know on an arm or an elbow or a foot or a knee or a hip or whatever, but the head, you can always kind of figure out where everything is from that. So what we've done here is we said, you really have to get up here in this thoracic cavity. You've got to come up here and hit these vulnerable areas. And so if you gut shoot them, or you shoot the bottom of the lung on these guys, you know what? They're still in the fight. Guess what? It could be a fatal wound right here. But we're not shooting to kill people, we're shooting to stop the fight. And where you shoot people to stop the fight right now is where those vital organs are at. Sure, if you shoot them down here and they die 30 minutes later, you're still dead. But in this situation, what we're trying to do is get them to stop the fight. The other thing that I'm going to tell you in looking at targets is this. When I have this target, I've seen lots of targets that have different things on them. They have the vitals drawn out. I think those are great. But you want to make sure that you've got something that's kind of life-size that allows you to illustrate for your shooting and allows you to discriminate against what you want to shoot, what you don't want to shoot. I also think that most targets are not straight on. So if we were looking at this and we kind of looked at this array, what you'd find is this target is facing this direction. This target is facing this direction. However, these two targets are facing a completely different direction. Well, what's the purpose in having these targets face different directions is as I look at these targets, different pieces of the vitals become available to me as I tilt my targets through here. So if you were to continue, can you back on up a little bit? What you're going to begin to see is that we've got these groups of targets kind of facing a V, kind of like where you're at right now. So if they were V'ing off against you, you would have a different shot on all of these from the same position. Life is not straight on. It's not linear like that. You've got different angles to shoot from, and you want to make sure that you're shooting targets. So if you were to start over here with this guy and then engage this one, you can see, although they're pointing in the same direction, they're a completely different direction to you. And then these guys right here are yet at a different direction. So you're going to have to assess. If you had all of them lined up on a line, like on the traditional square range, all you're getting is a same variation off that target a little bit. But these allow you to present things differently. I think that varying your shooting is important. Varying the angles to the target is important. Life-size targets are important, but life-size vital zones that you actually want to deliver the bullet to. See, I don't think shooting someone in the gut down here that they might die from 2 weeks from now from infection if untreated is nearly as good as being able to stop the fight right now. So to do that, we've got to train in environments that allow us to do these things, that allow us to shoot these targets. Now, there's a lot of dispute out there. Do I put them on the timer? Do I not put them on the timer? Do I, score the targets? Do I not score the targets? Well, I'm a big fan of the timer because I think it introduces stress. Not because of the time, but because of the stress that it puts you under. The second thing is in scoring your targets, anytime you bring that gun out, you're going to have a judge and jury score those targets for you. And I think that not to do it in the training environment is a mistake. Nighthawk Custom Training Academy, out.